Well, he has very good insight maybe into what your needs are and how to make things kind of run smoothly, and he's not pushy, very real pushy.
The last time I used Terry was 2004, but I've recommended him since then and all the way through today, and would continue to, because I think he is one of the best, if not the best, in San Diego for people that want to buy and or sell small apartments. He knows how to buy and sell apartments, but he also knows how to run them because he's done them himself.
I've never received false information from him. And in the real estate industry, there's times that people present things a certain way to encourage you to buy or don't disclose certain information. And whenever I've asked a question, if he doesn't have the answer immediately, he will search to find the answer to it, even if it takes a couple days and extra time and effort.
I first met Terry Moore in 1998. I had inspected a triplex he had listed over on Georgia Street. It was old and beat up, and I said so, and I got this phone call from him. I expected him to be beating me up, saying, no, this thing's perfect. But he didn't. He said, I don't understand about that foundation bracing with the wood framing. Could you tell me what you wanted to say? I thought, all right. So I checked out the realtor who I was representing, her client. He said, no, this guy's he's good. He's not as rough and tough as the typical apartment broker. Who went to that time I was just doing single families, and the apartment brokers were sort of being known as somebody that ran roughshod over everybody. Terry's a little different. He shows up at all the inspections. Not everybody does that. A lot of people, when they do show up, they're out, in the car, on the phone, setting up their next appointment. For me, Terry is what all the apartment brokers ought to try to be. It's not going to happen, but he certainly understands, communicates, cares, and looks out for the client's interest, sometimes years in advance of that need.
Yeah, I've been sort of dabbling in the real estate market since I was 20 years old in Australia. So we have a number of investment properties. I still have one in Australia. I have one in Chicago. I have a couple here in San Diego. And so it's not an unfamiliar. We've only ever bought one apartment building, and that's in a whole different league. And we were interested in doing that, and we were rookies. We didn't know really what we were getting ourselves into. And once again, it was Terry who gave us guidance and helped us through and understand the whole process. And we're going to consider buying another apartment building. So he acted more as a consultant in the whole process rather than just as a salesperson.
I was looking for a property probably 10 years ago, and I drove around with one agent, and I told him what area. We drove around, and I really loved this one house. 4 units, exactly what I wanted. It was super cheap in my price range. And he kept pushing me off, and he didn't, he tried to leverage my deal by offering zero down and whatever. And by that time, by his negotiations, some other person offered cash, and I lost the deal. So I was a little upset at that agent. So the experience I had from one agent to Terry is just vastly different, because I had the worst, and then Terry is the best.
We worked on a deal a few years ago where he was working on a project that was in foreclosure, selling it. And I thought he was very upfront with all the issues, because there was a lot of issues with the building, where a lot of times you'll have brokers try to cover things up like everything's rosy when it's really not.
There's a mutual trust, I think, and mutual respect for each other. And so I feel when Terry says something to me, I can trust to that and rely on it. I may question it. We talk about it, but only I feel that he's a trustworthy person, and I feel that some of the people aren't always quite straightforward. It's more talk, trying to just make a sale, you know, where it may not be a good opportunity, that particular aspect that we're talking about, and Terry will say that if he doesn't think it is, you know, or he'll agree with you if he doesn't think it is. So in the trust element, that's very high. You got, if you're going to be spending your money and maybe losing your money, or maybe making some more money, I feel I can trust Terry better than other gentlemen and women that I have dealt with.